world's foremost defender of free speech, Mehdi Hassan, decided to tweet at the Vice President of the United States, J.D. Vance, explaining to him why the U.S. Is not being very free speechy, while of course, being himself being funded by a totalitarian regime. But that's neither here nor there. And Mehdi and JD Vance, for some reason, decided that Mehdi Hassan doesn't have enough of an audience for the caliber of journalist that he is, and decided to respond to him. Let's read out those tweets and then discuss. Welcome to the Daily Objective. I'm joined by Daniel. This is the tweet by Mehdi Hassan. Hey, JD Vance, I know you're busy lecturing the Europeans on free speech, but have you seen this? And he quote tweets something about the decision by Trump to limit reporters' access from Associated Press to the White House because they refused to call the recently renamed Gulf of America, which used to be Gulf of Mexico. They're still calling it Gulf of Mexico. Here's JD Vance's response. Yes, dummy. I think there's a difference between not giving a reporter a seat in the White House press briefing room and jailing people for dissenting views. The latter is a threat to free speech. The former is not. Hope that helps. Of course, Mehdi Hassan is having a field day with this. He's continuing to reply. I don't think JD Vance has said anything since. But yeah, this is this is part of public discourse nowadays. Daniel, your thoughts on it?
Well, there's been a few things that Madison has posted, and JD Vance decided to pretty much take the easy dunk, I'd say, on that. But generally, I mean, I'm like sad about the like state of affairs in like modern world where it's like these guys, both of them are wrong, both of them are dishonest. One might be a slightly bit better, I think, just by the fact of what he taken and the fact that the other guy is Mehdi Hassan. So by default, everybody is looking much better. Uh, but generally, do you want to talk about the Associated Press ban decision, or do you want to? Because I was looking into basically because again, Mediasan made it about free speech. Um, Now I could see some maybe argument being said that when a newspaper is sort of denied access to the press meetings in the White House, that in a sense you could see it as some attack on journalism. Now I tried looking into the law aspects of it, and from my understanding, pretty much White House has almost full discretion when it comes to sort of doing these meetings. So if you want to make a case for it that there should be some law or well, there is a small regulation I'll talk about, but if you want to make a case for there should be some law regulating this access a bit better, you can make that case. But at the current state, this is pretty much not really a First Amendment issue, at least not made of right now. Now, the decision to ban AP for that reason is pretty retarded. I mean, there is no other way to say it. I'm sorry. This is Trump's America. I can say that word now. Uh, yeah, I mean, basically, Associated Press argument was that this is like an international body, basically the Gulf of Mexico, so they won't accept basically Trump just changing it. They do acknowledge the change in the name of is it Mount McKinley, which I think is pretty much changed like every presidential cycle. Like first Obama changed it, then the Trump changed it, then Biden changed it, then Trump changed it again. But basically the argument of the Associated Press was, well, this is just a local American thing, so we'll just recognize whatever America says it is. Uh, there's a few more things
Yeah,
I can say about the law aspect, but yeah,
I
what do you
mean,
make of this?
yeah, with that decision, calling it pretty retarded is generous. I mean, the very idea that this is the first of all that changing the name is somehow significant in any way, and I don't get it. And then yeah, uh kicking AP out over this, of all things. It's also something I don't get, but it's weird. It's a weird thing that, the left and the right push each other in all the wrong directions. And I'm old enough to remember when there was a presidential election, there would be these endless series of debates within each party for the nomination, and they would be on all the different channels. And then I believe it was Barack Obama who decided, I'm not going to do a debate, a Democratic debate on Fox News because it's right wing, which I thought was shocking. Like, don't you want the audience that isn't already voting for you? But yeah, this is not something that is unique to Trump. And many things that the left does, Trump also ends up doing. But it's good to define your terms, and then not get into these weird quibbles, because yeah, it's absolutely not an issue of free speech. So JD Vance is right in this. He was also right in what he said about European leaders. Now, is America going to be better in this? I don't know. Well, better than Europe, yes, America has always been better than Europe on free speech, but is it going to be significantly better under Trump? We'll have to wait and see. But yeah, it's weird. Also, again, the first word of your reply is to call him a dummy. I mean, first of all, he's an evil person. So, I always say calling evil people stupid lets them off the hook for their evil. But again, I don't know if JD Vance wants to call anybody evil, because I think he is far from good.
Elrito in the chat says Hassan is a modern day sophist, intellectually dishonest. Yeah, I can mention later one more thing about it, because yeah, that's who Mehdi Hassan is. He is extremely dishonest. I mean, it reminds me of there is a debate, or I'm not sure if it was formed as a debate or more of a like a discussion panel thing. It was Mehdi Hassan and Benny Morris. I think it was hosted on Al Jazeera again, and you could see, Benny Morris. He's not like the number one defender of Israel. He's a historian who views Israel positively, but has certain problems with Israel. But generally, is someone who I think values history and has a certain understanding of it. And Mehdi Hassan's goal was pretty much twist every single word he says into basically doing a dunk on him, basically, so he gets claps from the audience. There was no desire to actually listen to him. There was no desire to for anything. He is straight up, Mehdi Hasan is straight up just propagandist. And yeah, as you say, just to call him like a dummy, again, like, in some ways, the fact that we have social media and that we have, in a sense, this like instant access to politicians, that basically you can tweet at the vice president of the United States, or the secretary general of the UN, or you can even tweet at, like, I'm not sure if Putin is on X, but I know some of the dictators are, and I know Khomeini is on X. It's like surreal in some ways, but also I really do not need like every single like them responding to like every single dummy or every single like evil journalist that there is. Um, so is that kind of scenario that, like, I wish for the maybe it's maybe I have rose tinted glasses about, like, the past, but it's like I almost feel like in the past was better.
And I mean, name calling is something that anybody can do. Name calling, sarcasm, there's all these things I don't understand, whether you're in a political debate, or any type of debate. Like, why would you go there, and which side can't say that about the other side? Now, again, he did make an argument afterwards, which was pretty good, but he basically takes away from his own argument by starting it with calling him a dummy. Come on, at least put it at the end. Although, again, don't use it at all. Somebody
Yeah, I
who,
mean, just quickly, maybe this
yeah.
is like JD Vance is like trying to jump into that Trump thing because Trump is the one who started it. Lying Ted, everybody. He's the one who started basically calling people names, and that was his strategy. That was why he became popular. That was what really, like, and it actually wasn't popular at the start. I mean, look up the first debates. Trump was getting booed But he was at the center, and he was the one getting all the attention. He was even getting, I'm not sure if most of the questions, but most of the time was spent on Trump because he was the one being sort of theatrical. So maybe this is like JD Vance trying to, I don't know. I believe Trump was asked if JD Vance is going to be the next president or if he's going to support. And I think Trump said something like he doesn't know, he doesn't want to say yet anything on that. Uh, but there is a question if JD Vance has aspirations to be the next nominee. Unless something changes, Trump cannot be the next one. Uh, so we'll have to see what JD Vance's goals are.
Yeah, thanks for bringing me back to the 2016 election. I mean, that debate, just thinking back about that debate where Trump was booed and fast forward to, first of all, look at that and think what could have, how things could have turned out differently if anybody in the Republican Party had a spine. And then look at the moment where I thought somebody in the Republican Party does have a spine was the uh, the convention when Ted Cruz got up on stage and he got booed by the Trump people, and people were chanting endorse Trump, and he wouldn't. And of course, later on he did. Yeah, it could have been very, very different, and the world could have been a better place. But here we are. Thank you, Dan Dave, for a super chat, which is I agree with very much. Muslims are the greatest defenders of free speech, democracy, secularism, but only when they're in a minority. Mehdi is an Islamist pretending to be a liberal. Yeah, I mean, I agree very much with the end of that. The first part is sarcasm, but yeah, Mehdi Hassan. You know, I mentioned on this show when I first saw him was on BBC Question Time 2 days after the Charlie Hebdo attack, when the first thing he said on this topic was just because it's legal to fart in an elevator doesn't mean you have to, which is essentially the first thing he said was to criticize the people murdered for drawing cartoons of the savage that Mehdi Hassan admires. Thank you, Dan Dave, for another super chat. Dan says Mehdi and Muslims in general only care about Palestinians because they are Muslims. If they were Buddhist, Christian, or Hindu, they would not give a damn. Yes, and also because there are Muslims killing Jews. I mean, there are Muslims killing Muslims elsewhere, and nobody cares about them. So, yeah.
Yeah,
So,
I wouldn't make. I think these people, any sort of people that would stand up to West, that would kill Westerners, that would kill Western values, I think these people would stand up for them. It's just right now, Palestinians are the one who represent the anti-Western, anti-freedom sort of movement. So that's where they are going to right now. But if that changes, they'll go to something else. Now, when it comes to sort of Mehdi being an Islamist pretending to be liberal, it's really hard to actually find a lot of like actual opinions like Mehdi Hassan has. He will, he has like certain things about Israel and Hamas and Palestinians and few other things. But when it comes to like he talks about free speech. Now, if you're a defender of Hamas or Palestinians, um, who pretty much have no free speech or do not recognize any idea. I mean, none of the Islamic countries do have any respect for free speech. Uh, I mean, Al Jazeera is a state media that he works for. It's also not the best sort of country when it comes, or I mean, Qatar, when it comes to free speech. So, like, the question is, like, do you, or is it just like something that's like convenient right now, as well as his application of it is like, again, free speech is not just I'll just bring it up to like do a quick dunk. Like there is a certain understanding of free speech, and when it comes to again, when it comes to sort of AP getting banned, well, I for the most part disagree with the decision at the current law right now, unless it does get challenged, because there was basically one case in the past. I think I wrote it down somewhere. It was Cheryl V. Knight. I think it was in like 1974 or something. And one of the big things that came out of that is that if a journalist gets his like press access denied, there has to be like a stated reason why it has been. And so Trump has stated the reason why he banned AP journalists from the White House. I think I'm not sure if you read it, but I can read out again. Basically, that AP continues to ignore the lawful geographic name change of the Gulf of America. Now, this was the reason. If somebody decides to challenge it, we might see it. There was actually one case in 2018, CNN v. Trump, where there was another case where one journalist had their again press pass taken away by secret services, and ultimately it was sort of the dismissed or not dismissed. It was CNN like basically took it back, but during that, basically as a part of, I'm not sure if you call it injunction or as a part of like preliminary things, the journalist from CNN had her press pass basically given back as a before sort of the thing went to court. So there is, again, you can make a legal argument for it. I think it could be even kind of interesting, but Mehdi Hassan doesn't care. It's like none of these people care about like a law or even international law. It's like, okay, what can we use to bash people we don't like? What can it be used to sort of go against people we don't like? I mean, it's similar. I always bring it up when um, and now Finkelstein was asked about what he thinks about the Houthis breaking the international law by attacking international shipping. He said he doesn't care because they are damaging Israel. And it's like, okay, so you don't care about any of this stuff. It's just about who can we destroy with the tools we have right now. And this is what Mehdi Hasan is doing. He doesn't care about free speech.
Yeah, of course he doesn't care. I mean, he's an enemy of free speech. He is working for a dictatorship. He is advocating for dictatorships. Every country that Mehdi Hassan is in favor of has no free speech. Every country that he is against has at least some level of it, if insufficient in some cases. So yeah, it's weird that anybody would buy this. It's a shame also if JD Vance is going to reply to this guy and raise his profile, at least yeah, take him out properly. But he doesn't have the tool to take him out properly, so he didn't. Thank you, Bonnie, for the super chat. Paul asks, are you going to do a show about the illegal Gazan immigrants that stabbed the Jews in central Athens, Greece over the weekend? I don't think we're going to do a show about it. I mean, we're not a news channel. There was a terrorist attack. People from Gaza, or one person from Gaza, waited outside a pub and stabbed Israelis when they came out. Yeah, but this is something to keep in mind when we talk about, what the future is, and in terms of relocating people from Gaza, but also remember, uh, Jews are under attack everywhere, and certainly specifically Israelis are under attack, and should probably watch out when they travel, which is a shame and terrifying.
Just quickly, someone says, why does AP have a perpetual right to that White House spot? So again, as I explained later, pretty much Trump has, or at least at the current state, Trump has a discretion when it comes to this. The reason he used for getting AP out is dumb. It's basically they do not recognize or they do not want to call the Gulf of Mexico, the Gulf of America. Now again, like change is like dumb. There is no reason to do it. Sort of even AP sort of trying to basically make it a case that it should stay. That is also, I don't really have that much opinion on that. But also, do you really want this to be like that? That Trump will deny, let's say, every journalist access to the White House, and you'll be like, well, he has like yeah, currently he has pretty much the right to do it, but we should challenge it. And if he starts doing crazy stuff, we should want, okay, we need a law or we need some regulation when it comes to this. Now again, there is already some small thing that basically it cannot be political reasons, and that is also my other worry. Someone says they walked into the Oval Office unauthorized. That's not the reason Trump used for banning them. So I'm not sure why you would try to like defend it by using a reason that again is not that. Like we have an official reason why they are not allowed there. And my sort of worry, or like a different worry, is like if Trump just really disliked AP and didn't want them there, and now uses that as like a scapegoat, like, oh, they do not want to like recognize this like one thing, and now if you can just make like a random law where you change like the name of like you change the name of I don't know, the Gulf of Mexico is just gonna be called Fox News sucks, and it's like unless Fox News like reports on it, it's like, well, they cannot like come into the office. It's like something I'm worried about is like um, that you're using a different thing to basically hide your actual intention. So either it's like a stupid reason for banning it, or the reason is just used to hide the political reasons that you just don't want a certain press in your at your mm, press services.
By the way, a couple of weeks ago, I was flying from Florida to Texas, so sort of above the Gulf of whatever it is. It's mostly over shore. So, but you see it, and I often when there's a screen, I look at the map to see where we are, and I saw that it said Gulf of Mexico. I didn't mention the airline, right? Maybe I shouldn't, just not to get them in trouble, but I was taking a picture of it. I thought I'd post it with some funny comment on one of the ARCUK groups. The internet was out, and then I forgot. But yeah, it was still at the level of a joke as far as I was concerned at that point. And yeah, if there's I'm wondering that I'm worried that there's a point to much of the many of the things that Trump does that seem pointless, and I'm worried that point might be something we should be scared of. Thank you, Dan, for another super chat. Dan says Medi said non-Muslims are animals, LGBT are pedophiles. Yeah, I mean, we know who he is, and it's a shame. Again, it's a shame that JD Vance decides to use his clout to raise this guy's profile over something not that important, that if you want to say, you can say without responding to him. You can say, some people say, and then respond to it, or find somebody, I don't know, somebody who isn't as despicable as Mehdi Hassan, and respond to them.
Ray says, "Don't you hate it when someone you don't like makes a good point?" Well, I bring up like a separate thing because Mehdi-san posted a few things. So he posted this about AP being banned, um, but then he also brought up the fact that Elon Musk has called for long prison sentences for CBS journalists. Now, these tweets were posted in parallel with each other, basically at around the same time. And JD Vance decided to sort of answer to the easy dunk while refusing to answer the fact that Trump and Elon Musk have been, I think, to a scary extent, talking about putting journalists in jail. I mean, Trump came out with the whole thing of fake news, sort of trying to um, what do you call it? Basically delegitimize media. Now, this is a number one tool of any up and coming dictator: is you have to make the media the enemy. And you might make a case that maybe he, again, it's just a scare tactic. He won't actually do that, or nothing will happen. But it's important to acknowledge that it's scary when US president starts talking about media, the fact that he's gonna come after the media, and anything relating to that. And J.D. Vance said, no, that's actually like something I would have to engage in and maybe challenge like Trump or Elon Musk on it. So I'd rather just answer to the easy dunk. And someone says the media was biased before Trump. It's free media. They can be biased. They can do that's what they can do. Um, but calling for sort of trying to delegitimize the media, especially from the position of the top head of the executive, is scary.
Yeah, I mean the Elon Musk tweet is also very scary. I mean, this is not that super intelligent but somewhat off his rocker billionaire tweeting weird shit anymore. This is a person in power. the highest level of power, saying that CBS people should go to jail for editing an interview. It's their content. They can do whatever they want with it. They can have, unless they misrepresent what she said in a sense that, it's actually the opposite of what she's saying. That's it's their content. And if they want it to be propaganda for her, that's again, that is theirs, and that's what you have in a free country with free speech. And you're not a defender of free speech if you don't want news outlets that don't like you and you don't like them to have the right to produce and distribute any content that they so see fit.
Someone says Elon Musk is not smart at all. You guys should read Sam Harris's Substack. That's even like more scary when the fact that people at the top are not smart and are just people like doing whatever they want. I mean, Yaron Brook had a was it I think he live streamed it yesterday where he covered a bunch of things from the Doji department, which I recommend checking out. I mean, yeah, it's a mess. I think Bonnie said something about having to uh, basically like how will Americans even handle 4 more years of this? Yeah, I mean, many people forget what the 4 years under Trump were. It was like every single day. It was like a new thing that everybody has to talk about. And even here, like this is well, yesterday I believe. I'm not sure if we talked about Trump, but 3 days in a row we had to talk about Trump, where I didn't even want to because I don't want to just focus on Trump, but he does so many like insane things that you can't avoid but talking about it. It would be um, and that's sort of a tactic. You like it's like a tool of Russian propaganda. You just do so much stuff. You put out so much like things that people are like almost annoyed and tired of like looking at it, and so many things go under the radar that you really want to get through.
Anne says in the chat, he's expressing frustration that major news companies can promote a candidate with no consequence. Well, that's what free speech is. I
What
mean, look,
consequences would you want?
yeah, I mean, look, he got kicked off of Twitter and he started his own social media network, which is fine. That's you can do that. But the idea that, you know, you would have consequences for saying the things that a candidate doesn't like, that's terrifying. And that's not, you can't go to Europe and criticize them for not having free speech, even though that's right, and then say, well, we're going to shut down media organizations that favor our opponent. All right, we're out of time. Daniel, parting thoughts?
Uh, Not much. Just it every day I go through listening to Trump's administration and listening to the responses to Trump's administration reminds me that we truly are the only voice of reason. And well, there are a few more, but sort of I think objectivism can provide you with a proper and right response, and only you as an individual can sort of evaluate the actions objectively, and you really cannot rely on like shortcut that I'll just listen to this one person or I'll just listen to this one guy and he'll always be right and I can just rely on him to give me the truth about what's happening.
Well, the truth about what's happening in the Middle East is that Egypt is building up its military in the Sinai in violation of its peace accord with Israel. That is the topic of the reality show, which starts in a couple of minutes. Thanks, Daniel. Thanks, everybody, for watching, and we'll see you on the reality show.